Hey guys, Leaf here. Some of these days, I find myself spending so much time considering the future, I forget the present moment I'm in. I think what I have trouble with is dealing with uncertainty. The modern, digital world we live in is so impossibly large, even the small things are often indecipherable. There are so many variables at play. How can we grasp anything at all? How can we feel certain about anything? I'm just a cog in an infinite world. We all are. But the debate that ravels inside me is, are we or are we not at a pivotal point in humanity really? An existential reflection point. Is it my bias that brings me to believe that we are in a truly special but frightening time in our greater history, or are we really? Be warned though, this video is much more about posing questions and answering them. I would like to present an anecdote from my own life that has guided me to my own conclusion. Last November, I was at my grandparents' house. Me and my dad had been talking about our lineage, so we decided his dad, my grandfather, would be a wonderful source to consult. Before this day, I had never attempted asking my grandparents questions about their own lives, their childhoods, viewpoints, and insights. Understanding that I may not get many more chances, I put on a full-blown, quote, interview. I asked them dozens of questions about anywhere my mind went to. I wanted them to know that someone was listening. Overall, it was definitely a worthwhile conversation. My grandmother spoke about coming of age in the foothills of Appalachia during the 50s and 60s. Her family lived in a cabin. They lived without appliances, no running water, or electricity, no convenience whatsoever. Even though America was a superpower teetering on landing on the moon, my grandmother functionally lived in the same conditions as her family had since before the Civil War. Her family ate on the grass outside. At least she could go to school though. On the way though, she had to walk barefoot to a classroom holding 4 or 5 different grades of students with only one teacher. Comparatively, my grandpa lived in excess. I asked him what his favorite invention of his childhood was. Out of every advancement humans had made in the past century, what sticks out to you the most? He told me the electric blanket. There were some more gems. I also enjoyed my grandpa's eyebrows furrowing as he tried to recall the hazy memory of his own grandparents. I asked them where they were when JFK died and what the end of segregation was like. If you have living grandparents, I implore you to consult them, whether for their wisdom or just an interesting conversation. Odds are they'll be grateful for it. Out of everything we discussed, what has stuck with me most are my mental recreations of my grandmother's childhood. It's unfathomable to me. Often, I think about her parents and their parents too. They could not have had the conversation I was having with my grandparents. Nothing like it. I'm sure they weren't identical. No two generations can be. But, comparatively speaking, the progression of their culture was inert. I think about the environment in which my grandparents raised my dad, and the environment in which he raised me. If you imagine a curve of technological progress, think about how steep it must be. For my money, it may as well just be exponential. It's this anecdote of my afternoon with my grandparents that I think my thoughts really began to shape themselves. If their present is so far removed from their past, then who's to say my future won't be as far removed from my present? This is the foundation of my newfound curiosity of the future. For my background, I am a 19-year-old accounting student. I'm decently far in my degree to the point where I'm getting familiar with intermediate accounting and tax classes. I chose accounting as my degree for a few reasons. I'm pretty mathematically oriented. I'm a numbers guy. Additionally, accounting is traditionally the epitome of consistency, stability, and job security. Yet, I feel much more unsure now. For 2 years, I resolved on this accounting path, but now I recognize the future as a complete wild card. My previous resolve is starting to waver, and as to why, I need to thank the elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. It's the hot topic, if you will. Before I go any further, I would like to say that my actual knowledge of AI is very, very limited. Really, I'm just a consumer, just like most people watching this video probably. Perhaps it's my limited knowledge that's the root of my fear. It's something that I will never understand. But as I said in the beginning of this video, I think AI might be an existential threat to humanity and something that's going to fundamentally change everything. We've already opened Pandora's box, and it's only going to get worse from here. It's not sensationalist to say that the rate of progression of AI is unlike anything we've ever seen before. I remember when DALL-E came out. It was a fun image generator that was so bad, but also part funny and part interesting. That was 4 years ago. Fast forward to the present day, and we have a publicly available, nearly lifelike video generator in Veo 3 that already can trick many segments of the population. When your grandparents send you AI animal videos, it's funny at first, but is it not a little terrifying? How long before this technology can fool us too? Before it fools me? There's a timer on this. What I'm afraid of, more so than our existing technology, is AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, or as defined in OpenAI's charter, highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at most economically viable work. Estimates vary wildly. Some say, give it till 2027. Some say 5 years. Some say 10. Some 15. The date to me doesn't matter. To me, what matters is that I feel AGI is a when and not an if. At this point, I would like to talk more philosophically. It's a fancy word for saying I'm speaking very, very vaguely. Our entire worldview, our notion of what it means to be human, is based upon the premise that humans have outcompeted everything on Earth. This is our planet. For capitalism itself to work, we need a workforce full of humans. If AI disrupts our current order, then what? There are questions of regulations too. If an AI system fucks up an audit, then someone has to be held accountable. You can't jail an AI. Do you go towards the person who created it? What if AI will really be capable of outperforming humans at producing revenue? There are different views people take when we think about AI taking our jobs. First are those who deny this possibility from ever occurring. And second, some believe new jobs will arise, just like the Industrial Revolution. I say, our jobs are already abstract, and how much further can we even get? And third, we, or at least a substantial proportion, let's say 20% of our population becomes obsolete. Then what? Do we escalate into a full-out class war? Do we think a country as backwards as America can implement UBI, Universal Basic Income, in a timely fashion before millions have already starved? I haven't even mentioned the environmental strain AI puts on top of our already majorly fucked world ecosystem. All these possibilities, all these thoughts, and we won't be able to know until we're in the moment ourselves. Our fates are uncertain, and that scares me. The digital age is truly uncharted territory. More important than trying to predict the future, I think we, collectively as Zoomers, need to reflect on the present. In the short term, I feel that every Zoomer should continue their lives as unobstructed. If you're saving for your retirement, continue to save. The most fullest position to be in would be to imagine the future binary, as utopia or dystopia. You don't want to predict utopia and dystopia and be wrong. Either we'll be in such a surplus there will be no need to plan, or we will be so devastated there may as well be no future at all. Even considering that any college degree could eventually lose its worth, as long as we make our present decisions in good faith, like I believe I am, I don't think we'll be sitting in 20 years regretting going to college. It's not nearly as simple as, just enter the trades, bro. In a scenario of AGI, it's hard to wrap our heads around, but everything would change. If our workforce becomes displaced and unemployment so widespread, then the shifts of the world are beyond us. The entire fabric of the economy and life itself will be blown up and popped like a bubble. As I feel the only things we can control are our immediate actions, and we can only make our immediate actions through the lens of the present, then I shall continue with college. I want to reiterate though, I'm not a fortune teller. The whole theme of this video is I don't know anything, and we don't know anything. My feelings about the world are solely my own. I'm not asking anyone to agree with me. I get that I'm heading to a point in my life where my views are starting to get a little out there. I read a tweet last month of someone's response. Aren't you preparing for AGI? His response? You don't need to prepare. This is more so my view. I almost feel so radical that I've spilled back over into normalcy. We do live in unprecedented times and we can't control anything. We can't predict anything, so why care? Let's live in the moment together. Foster community. Like I've said before, find the art in everything. Create your own art. Myself, writing this video is me trying to put my own advice into practice. AI will never steal our souls. As people, we will always keep our communication, our language and laughter and love. I want to end with this. Since the Industrial Revolution, and especially in the past 50 years, our society has gotten more and more abstract. We are lonelier than ever, and that's not our fault. We're dropped involuntarily into a system that tears us to shreds. We're funneled into addictions because that's profitable. I believe that the rise and eventual domination of AI will, in a way, force us to reset and serve as a reminder of what makes us distinct. We're so far removed from the essence of humanity, each other.